Hey guys, and welcome again to the 7th video. 7th tutorial for beginners in C++. Like I said, we're going to do arrays, because arrays are awesome at times. Go arrays. Go away, man. Alright. Man, I just gotta stop. Have I done this in other videos where I just don't do stuff properly? I probably spell things wrong. Probably. So I still do. Awesome. That's good. So basically, arrays are they're a variable, but what you can do with them is you can save like a bunch of different values in one kind of variable, separated magically. I can't explain things without showing you guys. That was terrible. Oh, I like to do it like this. Alright, so the usual list of subject suspects include no stream. Alright, so say you have an integer, you need to save like 10 of them for whatever reason you're doing. You don't want to have 10 integers. That's very annoying to type out that many. Plus 2, there's no way of having them kind of connected in a way that you can use later. So say we were keeping like a list of birthdays or something, or some sort of value, who knows. You don't want to go int a1 and int a2. It's stupid that way. So instead, what they have is an array. So arrays are almost the same way. So you int the name of the variable, not array. Don't use array. See how it went blue? That means that it's a keyword already given to C++. So we're going to call it my array. Then you need these square brackets. The square brackets basically is where you're going to say how big you want the array to be. It's freaking out because I have a number in there. So let's say we have 10. So there we go. We have an array with 10 numbers in it. They're all integers, and right now they're all set to just junk. So what we're going to do, we're going to probably get an error this way, but we're going to try and output all of the numbers using the for loop we used in the last video. So again, I'm just going to do it kind of quick because either you remembered it and you can keep up, which is awesome, or you can just pause and just type what I do. So I know there's 10, and plus I, and there's my chunk. We're going to see out my array, and then to tell C++ which item in the array you want, you do the square brackets again, and since we're using the I as an index, we're going to put I. Now remember that I starts at 0, or that we start off with 0. This is because in C++ and most programming languages, everything starts with 0. You count starting from 0 all the time. So the 0 index of our array is really the first one. Alright? That's very important to remember. So we're just going to output whatever number's in there, and then a little comma, space, and then that's it. No endl because we want it all next to each other. So I'm just going to try this. It's probably going to throw an error, and I'll tell you why. If it throws errors. Alright, it doesn't throw errors, but those are crazy numbers. That's kind of a more advanced thing that I will show you guys later. But for now, you have to remember to set it to what you want it to be before you can output a number that's not set to anything. So we're just going to set another for loop. Now notice that I have int I here and int I here, and it's not freaking out. In the background of C++, when it's putting all your code together, it knows that this int is part of this for loop, and you can have a variable inside of these. It's called scope. This is actually kind of another thing to remember. So if I had a variable here called something, and here I had one called the same thing, when we're going through our lines, because that's the way our code gets read, it gets down to this for loop, says, okay, this starts a block, this ends a block, so that's all one block, and oh, they're making an integer called something, so it makes a something. But then when it gets to the end of the block, it deletes this variable. It lost its scope, it's called. So when it comes into this block, there's nothing called something, so you can call it again. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet, but that's another important thing to know. And that's why you can have these two integers called I. I'll go over that again later, but for now just remember, try to understand that a little bit. Or just don't play with it yet. Alright, so for this one, for this code block, this loop, we're gonna set the numbers in our array. So what we can do, for my array, and then the square brackets, we'll use I again because that's the index, and it's equal to I. So that means for my array 0 is going to equal 0, my array 1 is going to equal 1, and so on and so forth. So save and run. And now we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Awesome. But what if I wanted to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Well, let's try that. First thing I'm thinking is we don't want to start at 0. We want to start at 1. Remember, this is, I'm going to add a comment here. Setting the numbers. And here, putting the numbers in from the array. If I haven't gone over comments, because it's been a while I haven't done videos, the double slash is basically a way of telling the computer, hey, you know what, this line here, just ignore it. It's something so that we can write little messages to ourselves reminding us, hey, I did this for this reason. Cool. So we set our array, and then we give it all the numbers, which are all going to be 1 to 10, and then we say, alright, I want to output them. So let's save and run that and see what happens. So we get this crazy number again, and then 1 to 9. That's not right. Now the reason for this is because I, which is set to 1 at the beginning, is also here. Now that means it's skipping the first element, which is at 0. So if we were to go -1, because you can do that, and you can put anything that evaluates to a number in here, which is kind of another advanced topic we'll cover later. But so it's going to say, okay, so we're starting at 1, so 1 minus 1 is 0, so array at 0 is equal to 1. Probably should have done this way. Okay, so now we've got at the beginning 1, 2, and the end we have that junk again. Alright, we can fix this. Remember how I said you can do equals here to go up to 10 and include 10? If you do that, that's another range of 10. So we can run this, and we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Now these videos are kind of getting harder to explain, mainly because they're kind of more advanced topics. But I'm hoping you guys can keep along, and if you can't, let me know, and I can change how I explain the next things that are coming up, because they do get a little bit more complicated. But that looks like it's a pretty good way to know how those work. If you don't know how arrays work, let me know. I'll make another video really explaining arrays. This is kind of more like a syntax thing, like how you make one. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.